Oh, God.
Let's see here. All right, so that should... Presumably that goes out on Twitter now. Let me make sure.
Is it Twitter?
I've had the YouTube notification that you've gone live.
Okay, so we are synced up and live. Good. Well, for there being no one yet in the chat, hello everyone. This is ScribeLight. Welcome to ScribeStream number 3. I am presently joined by Satsu 2 Cents.
Yo.
Laura Bones.
Hello.
And Amanda Wolfchild.
Hi.
Porco Dio will be joining us presently. He's got some work he's doing, and so hopefully he'll be able to join us. So for those who are uninitiated, the format I do with my Scribe streams is to have a little bit of structure insofar as having a theme to the discussion. And this time around, I've given the twist of not it being just me asking questions, because that got to be kind of like an interview show, and I was like Johnny Carson or something. So this time around, I have asked my guests to each come up with at least 2 questions to toss out there as we go around the room, so to speak. So I've been doing a stream every time I hit 100 new subscribers. So like, I just hit 300, so this is number 3. And whenever that time rolls around, I try to think about what's going on in the world and what sort of might bring up a topic. And with the Berkeley riots, with the punch a Nazi, with the Trump travel ban probably going all the way to the Supreme Court, the phrase, "How far would you go?" came to my mind for like the extremism of things lately and other stuff. And so that's the theme. And as I am a chivalrous, gentlemanly sort and a patriarch of non-compare, I'll let the ladies go first. So Amanda, what's one of your questions that comes out of the theme of how far would you go?
Well, one of mine was, how far would you go, how fast, like in a relationship? Because I know I'm different than a lot of people. I've only ever slept with 2 people. And it was my husband and then my ex before my husband.
So how far and how quickly is what the question is.
Yes. Well, with both of them, I was in a relationship with them for a long time before we ever did anything. I'm trying to think exactly how long. I was with my ex for a year before we had sex, and probably together with him for like 3 or 4 months before I even kissed him.
Oh, wow.
And then with my husband, we dated online for a long time before we actually met in person. Like, we knew each other from way back in middle school, but at the time we started dating, he was in college and I was living at my dad's, so we were far apart. So we like talked to each other and said we were dating online for like 6 or 7 months. But once we actually saw each other, we'd been talking online for so long that we slept together within 3 days.
Well, yeah, that's not a
So yeah,
that's not a shocker.
I guess in comparison, I'm a relative slut then, because usually something's happening within the first or second dates as far as the times that I've had any short or long-term relationships. Things got started pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same here too. There have been it's never really been a set time. It's just whenever it felt right in my scenario. But I'm not typically the initiator because I like to leave that in situations where I first meet a girl. I leave it to them because I'm like, they'll know. Of course, I know when I fucking look at them. So, I'm like, when I said hello, I was like, all right now.
You're a simple creature.
Yeah, so I'm like, but in that instance, it's just like, whenever the time's right. There was never really a time for me. I didn't really have standards as far as that went.
You have no standards.
I guess that's what happens when you ask guys a question like this.
I'm a bit the same. It's like, it just entirely depends, to be honest with you. But I'm quite open-minded about sex. Like, I don't go out with the intention of having sex. Like, I don't go out looking for it. But if it happens, then fair enough, I suppose. Like, I don't know. It just depends, I guess.
I think you need to
She's-
turn off
I'm the
Twitter
only-
again, Laura. You're choppy again.
Oh, it's because I've got the stream open on YouTube all the time.
Oh, okay.
She's not restricted by social norms.
Man, don't they?
I guess
Sometimes
I'm
it's
the-
taken like weeks, and sometimes it's been the first thing that's happened, and then it's gone from there.
I guess I'm the only strange one. I couldn't ever imagine having sex with somebody that I wasn't in love with, and I couldn't be in love with somebody that I didn't know for a very long time.
I can
I was friends with both my ex and my husband for years and years before we ever even dated.
Yeah, I can understand that sentiment because I mean, in a lot of ways, I'm like that, where like I have to, but like for me, sex was never like the ultimate thing, like the goal to go to where it's like I am clearly in love with this person because my penis is working. No, I was just like, it was just like this is a thing that people do who are interested in each other. But
No.
I will say there's a difference between having sex with somebody who you don't care about and having sex with a person you do. Like there's a huge difference
Yeah.
for me.
I'm not so sure that I could honestly, quote unquote, say I love someone unless I knew there was physical chemistry between me and them. I think that, I mean,
Yeah,
at least for me,
I
there'd
agree.
have that is because I knew I'm getting some reverb from somebody. I don't know who it is.
Is it me? I hope not.
No, I don't know. Anyway, I knew a couple that were together and they got married after being together for 10 years and they had never had sex.
What?
10 years dating, never had sex. I think they were Christian Scientists or something. So they had, I guess there might have been a religious component to it, but they had no idea as of the moment that they were off on their honeymoon, whether or not they got along sexually, which I just thought that is the biggest landmine you can possibly put in front of a relationship. But yeah, so I maybe it's just me. I'm not quite that old fashioned, but I think
Yeah,
you
I
should have an
couldn't-
idea. Yeah.
I couldn't marry somebody I hadn't had sex. Like me and my husband had sex before we got married, for damn sure. I was 5 months pregnant at our wedding.
Was there a shotgun involved?
I was just thinking.
We do love to make that joke though, because his parents are extremely religious, and I was pregnant when we got married, so we actually love to make that joke. That we got
Oh my
married
God.
because I was pregnant.
A wild pig appears.
Porco Dio, mighty fighting pig.
Yes, the mighty fighting pig. Well, welcome to the channel, Porco.
Good to be here, Scribbles. Good to be here.
So we were just discussing Amanda's first question, and I can't wait to hear your answer.
I did catch it on the stream. It was about like how quickly you fuck people, right?
How far you'd go in a relationship, how quickly, but yeah, basically.
How quickly I'd fuck people? Well, I don't know. I got a stopwatch somewhere.
Well, with a little bit of background justification, I was a semi-pro musician for 10 years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
DJ in clubs for about the same length of time,
Club chick,
and
basically.
and in university was kind of a sports hero. So yeah, basically constantly. I wouldn't lie. I mean, like my bedpost is well and truly hacked through, but I don't consider this to be a good thing. Like, while I've forgotten the majority of people that I've had sex with, which is kind of weird in retrospect. And it does, when you do actually meet someone you like, it does sort of fuck shit up a bit, because there's always that conversation that you have. So, how many people have you done it with? And they say like 7, and you're like, oh, well.
I've never
Oh, yeah, you would be
why
really
that
scared
question
off.
is relevant. Like, why is that question relevant? I don't.
Well,
The instant somebody asks me that
it's a-
question would be the instant I would just walk away from them. Because, like, if that's
But it's
really
not-
what you need to
It
know
comes-
about me,
come on.
then yeah, well, okay, if it
It's
comes up in a manner
it comes up
in which
eventually.
they're not bothered by your answer, then fair enough. But like,
Well,
The instant that I know that,
So-
that something hinges upon that answer, then I'm like, no, because that's completely irrelevant to who I am. So that if you need to know the answer to that question and something hinges upon that answer, then you're not worth being with.
Yeah.
It's not always irrelevant to who the person is. I'm not saying it's relevant to who you are. I'm saying it's not always irrelevant to who the person is, because I had a friend. He was a great guy. We always had a lot of fun hanging out because his cousin was married to my best friend, so we always ended up hanging out, the four of us. So it was a lot like double dating, and he was always trying to convince me that I should just date him. And I would have if he wasn't always telling stories about all the different women that he's fucked. And he's a little bit younger than me, and he would tell stories about fucking like 45-year-old women. I'm like, I'm glad I know this because I don't want to date you now.
See, for me, it would be the fact that he was telling the stories. I'm like, I don't care if you've slept with 600 women, but if you're going around bragging about it, then that tells us all I need to know about you as well.
I also walked in on him eating out a friend of mine who was really drunk, and it was just, I would never date.
Well, there's a health consideration as well. I mean, if you know someone that is not very discriminating about who and how many they're sleeping with, then you have to have a question in your mind like, well, is this someone that I want to be messing around with until after we've each had a blood test? I mean, it's just,
where has that been? And
Right.
do I want it to be
Got the-
me?
Yeah.
Do I
You
want
have
to
got
put
the
my mouth on it?
practicalities to take into consideration, but
yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of launching a relationship, I don't think it should really.
Well, anytime it's ever come up in my scenario, it was like with the girl I was with, we were always drunk. Like it was never like under regular terms. It was like we were drunk, and she was like, "I wonder how many people have you slept with?" And I'm like, "Mind your business, bitch."
Mind your business, bitch. Now bend over.
I knew with both of the guys I slept with, because my ex, he'd only slept with one other person, and it was a good friend of mine, so I knew that had happened. And my husband, he was a virgin when we met, so I knew.
Oh,
I didn't have
damn.
to ask.
Is it like, you got Bible Belt or something? Right?
Yeah, I'm from Texas.
Right. So is it the kind of thing like where up the bum doesn't count? Is that the way you guys roll it down?
No, they do not roll.
I'm a virgin. I'm a virgin
Counts.
before my wedding day. Everything counts. All right. Okay.
No, speaking of that,
I was still...
have you guys ever seen a music video called "Fuck Me in the Ass" because I love Jesus?
Exactly
No,
that. That's
I have
exactly
not.
what I was
No,
thinking.
I missed that one.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I
it's not
do
Hall &
know a
Oates.
chick who got done in the bum before she lost her virginity, but she did count that as losing her virginity.
Well, good for her.
Well, it probably is. In
Yeah.
a way. Just, it's one of the 3 virginities you can lose.
Oh God. Let's move on to another question.
Right.
God forbid. Hey, Porco, since you came in late, what's one of your questions?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus Christ. Dude, I've been editing.
Okay,
for,
never
like,
mind.
the
Never
last
mind. Sets
8
it.
hours.
Sets it.
You said ladies first. Laura didn't get to go.
Oh, is
That's
Laura a
all right.
lady?
I can be a lady. That's fine.
Well, Laura needs to figure out her audio first because I can barely understand her.
Yeah.
Is it so bad?
Oh, it's been choppy the whole time.
All right, I don't
Laura, if
understand
you
why.
go-
But this is the first time that this has happened.
I don't know.
If you go into Hangouts and adjust your bandwidth usage to like the lowest possible, that might help it a little bit.
Yeah, the little gearbox thing in the window, you can adjust your settings.
It's
It
just got
sounds like you-
webcam communications, and voice, and that's it. There's nothing but just bandwidth and a little gearbox.
I thought there was. Let's see. Gearbox.
It should add the little fucking signal-y, the triangle bit in the middle.
Oh,
You've got
yeah.
Hang at the core.
Yeah, next to the gears, the little bars deal.
Right in the middle. Click on that, then it's got a slider. Slip that down to like very low, and that should fucking fix you up. It's not like we're streaming through
Nice.
cameras or anything. So
Is that better?
much better.
Talk a little bit more.
There we go. Okay, is that better?
No.
Can you hear me now? No?
I can, but it's still like garbled. It sounds like you're talking into a voice
I don't
modulator.
understand. Like, how?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hangout is weird.
Yeah, but like I've been in, I just came out of a hangout. It wasn't a problem.
Well, try logging
There you
out
go.
and coming back and see if that maybe resets things or something.
Okay.
The magic of live television, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
All right, I've come up with one off the cuff.
Okay, hold on. Let's wait for Laura to get back.
Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, I know. I'm a horrible person. I want to have everybody
You
here.
didn't wait for me to come in. You know, let's start on time.
Oh, well, you told me you were going to be late.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
so you should have waited for
Oh,
me. Because
yeah. Well,
I'm the best.
But I have another stream after this. We can't wait.
yeah, exactly. We're on a time frame here, Porco.
Hey, sorry, man.
Yeah.
I have
That's
to
right.
get drunk.
Oh God, yes.
Do you think that? Like, I'm way ahead of you. I've been working on this
I'm
video
waiting
for
to get drunk till my stream.
Oh, you're going to save the drunkenness until your stream.
Well,
Okay.
I can't start a stream drunk. That won't last long.
Okay, so you're going to stay sober for mine. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours.
I usually find out less longer if I'm drunk.
I'll be like half past
I'm,
drunk,
in
still
streams.
talking. My head is in my hand and my eyes are closed. I'm like, yeah, guys, I'm here.
Oh, Laura's not back yet. Oh, there she is. All right, give us a test. Let's see what she says.
Hello, is that any better?
Oh, that's crystal clear.
Perfect.
Crystal clear. Yay.
Woo!
All right. So, Porco, a question has arisen in your mind. What do you have?
Yeah, right. Because you were sort of thinking about the things that's been going on at the universities with the riots and things.
Mm-hmm.
How far would you go to defend your beliefs?
Not as far as violence. I guess I'll
right.
put a capper on that.
It's for damn sure.
Yeah. You never fight words with
Well,
violence. Your ideas and your points should stand.
Uh,
The only words that should incite violence is if you are literally saying, I am going to kill you, like right this second. Then I think you have a reason to swing at that person.
Say that question entirely hinges upon what the other party is willing to go to. Like,
well, consider
if
escalation.
they attack me, then damn straight, all means,
Yeah.
all cards are off the table. Any and all means will be utilized in order to defend my belief. It's as simple as that.
Well, I mean, I guess if you look at it a different way, because like if somebody attacks me at that point, I'm not defending my beliefs anymore. I'm defending my personal safety, you know.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly. So
Yeah.
your belief, not your person, but your particular set of beliefs. No physical harm.
I guess
they-
the furthest you could go, I think, at least coming from an American perspective, is if you believe deeply enough in the American ideals, the furthest you could go that isn't enacting violence would be to join the military. If you're willing to put your life on the line in defense of your beliefs, not necessarily agreeing to actually do so or enact violence, but that you'll be willing to risk your life to do so in some fashion, that, I think, is probably as far as any one person could go.
Yeah, the
Well-
most you could do is just educate people about your beliefs as best you can, and it's up to them whether they're going to believe the same thing or not.
Yeah, I mean, and that even depends on whether or not somebody is willing to go to that point. Because I mean, there's some people who feel very strongly about their beliefs, but once they get to the point to where this person's like, well, you need to show me about 7 pages of substantial evidence, you're like, fuck that. Just like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm good. You'll just be stupid. That's okay. I'm all right. So I guess it really just depends, man. I mean, I will go to that point. Like if I have the information readily available, then I'll be willing to go on above and beyond to get the information necessary for the person to
Yeah,
to like to prove my point and get it together. But you want me to go read a 300-page book, or some shit like that to try to prove my point? I'm like, I don't care about it.
The Christy Winters offensive technique.
Right, I don't care about it that much. I was just trying to prove a point. Jesus
I suppose as well, it depends on how basic the belief is. Because if you're just talking about like a random political belief or whatever, but if it's like a core moral belief that's under threat.
I believe that Skittles are better than M&Ms. Fight me.
Yeah. Red vines over Twizzlers, man. Red vines over Twizzlers.
Wait. Hold on. So, like, let me get this. I forget what the new terminology is. Like, Google's are black guys, Skype's are Jews.
Oh, right.
Skittles are mixed. What's an M&M? What's an M&M, dude? Do you don't know
It's a
these
rapper,
things
I
are?
think.
Oh well, yeah. Skittle. Mexican people are better than an M&M. I'll take that all day.
That's awesome.
Just simply on the basis that there's more of them. Just only on that fact.
Yeah. I think the reasoned person would say that, short of actually enacting violence, I mean, of course, you have to draw the lines like, well, am I enacting violence in defense of my personal safety, or is defending my beliefs entwined in my personal safety? Because if you were a captive, let's say, or you were actually a slave, and you believed in your own freedom, would you commit violence to gain your freedom? Well, that's where the line blurs, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on how base the belief is, like how basic you go. So you're going down to the base level of freedom. Violence definitely.
This is the perspective that we've been seeing through the Antifa and Black Bloc tactics lately. Is they believe that despite no violence being committed against them, they are physically, existentially in danger, and therefore violence is justified. And I was running with Black Bloc just over a decade ago, and yeah, we trashed some stuff, and yes, I fought actual Nazis, but this was not like in either case was I physically threatened when I wasn't willing to give out violence, or was it in defense of was it a preventative measure? Now that's the weird thing that I'm seeing at the minute is it's like, okay, we've decided that these people are Nazis, therefore violence is legitimate against them as a preventative measure before they do anything.
Well,
a bit of fight or flight instinct, isn't it? But they'll not believe in that because it's not a social construct. So,
well, the distinction that I thought about this the other day when I was trying to think of the parallels between what we're seeing now with the left and what we saw with the right when Obama was first elected, and the Tea Party. And maybe I'm off on this. Somebody tell me otherwise. But the thrust of the right in the Tea Party and that kind of deal was that they were scared of their personal liberties being under threat. I mean, however reasonable or unreasonable that was, their gun rights, their health care rights and stuff like that. On the flip side, if I'm not completely off base, the extreme left is concerned about defending everybody else. The poor oppressed here, that person, the person who can't speak for themselves. So the left seems to be defending the external, while the right tends to defend the internal, if that makes any sense.
You know what? I'd never thought about it like that, but that actually does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it falls in line with the belief differences when you're talking about the left or the right, because a lot of right thinkers, or at least in my experience, are kind of most of their interests are self-serving. They're like based in self-preservation to make sure that they as an individual are okay.
Right.
But it seems like the left has been both, well, not really historically, but as of late, very invested in the welfare of like other people, but in a very, very not effective way. You know what I mean? Where it's like kind of like if you walk up on an altercation that's happening and your perception tells you that the person who looks like they're losing the fight is actually losing this fight, so you step in to help that person. Meanwhile, that person has full control of the situation and does not want or need your help. And and now you've created a situation where you're like, this person is a victim, I must help them. And they're like, no, get the fuck out of here. I don't need you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on here.
That's why I always say, if you want the left or the right, it's like you're saying, do you want mommy government or daddy government? That's what they act like.
That's
they
an
want to
interesting
either
way to
mother
put it.
people or father people. That's what they want to do.
Well, the theory behind the need to defend has been called pathological altruism. So it's
Yeah.
like it's almost like a mental disorder where you justify and affirm your own beliefs in existence by doing quote unquote good. And the only way to do good is by self-sacrifice in favor of someone who is weaker. And usually you'd think this is a good thing, defending those who cannot defend themselves, etc. But the sense of creating yourself into a hero to the extreme can obviously become a problem.
Yeah, there's also an issue of perspective because a person you perceive to be weak doesn't necessarily mean that they are, so you get that disconnect where the people who you're claiming to defend are not only, they don't want your help, but they're also now offended at the fact that your just general view of them is a weak individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You become the nanny state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 1 minute. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. All right.
That's very interesting though. Like I didn't really think about it that way, but that kind of ties into when I released the video about self-preservation. And
Yeah,
why? Where's that feedback coming from?
Laura, that's what I was gonna say. Was mute.
Oh,
Laura.
okay. Yeah. The conversation of where self-preservation comes from and why this generation of leftists seem to be so against it. Because it's a lot easier when you when you haven't really accomplished anything and you haven't really done anything. If you can put yourself on a pedestal on someone else's behalf, it's a lot easier to feel accomplished when in reality you haven't actually accomplished anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
they're also, like everybody says, and it's very true, they're projecting so very much their own thoughts about other people onto them.
yeah.
They're like saying, I see you as this, therefore the whole world must see you as, I see you as weaker and beneath me. I'm the privileged one, and I'm the one that fucking thinks this way, so I'm going to say that everybody else does.
Oh
Right.
yeah, like it's no different than like if you're in a restaurant and like you were about to walk in line and a person of color was about to walk in that same spot and you just happen to beat them to it, and some self-righteous person who witnessed the topic is like, oh well, that person's less fortunate than you, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, I'm treating this person like an equal by not giving a fuck that they look how they look, because I'm treating them how everybody else would, but you are treating them different, and you are now treating them special and treating them like they're a special case that needs help. I'm not the racist here. I just walked up and I treated them like a normal human, and now you're demanding that I give them special treatment under the guise of you not being like you being the person who's not the racist or who's not the prejudiced one. But I'm like, all of your outrage right now is built on preconceived notions that you literally just came up with on your own.
Yeah.
That used to be the definition of reverse racism. I don't know how it's been twisted to
Yeah.
be racism against white people now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I wonder if Laura knows that I muted her for the sake of testing to see if it was her that was giving us the feedback. I hope she's not like trying to talk to us right now and she doesn't know that she's muted.
Yeah, just pop her, see if she made it back yet.
I don't know if I can. It lets me mute somebody. Okay. So,
Oh, she says she's back. Okay.
Okay. So you want to? So Laura, apparently it was. I don't know if you have headphones in or not, but you were giving us some feedback. I muted you to test out to see if it was your channel that was doing it. If you want to click the little microphone symbol at the top of your Hangout screen, that'll unmute you. We can.
Right, so I'm giving the feedback. Well, hang on a second.
If you have some headphones or something, that'd probably fix it.
I think the problem is that obviously my microphone is close to my headset, so the noise is just bleeding through possibly. So I've just turned you guys down in my head, and
okay,
might fix it.
Yeah, you're the cause. You're the cause of all of our problems today, Laura.
Laura is
that's the story of my life, unfortunately. But
so cause us some more problems. So cause us some more problems and give us one of your questions.
All right, my questions were like, because I thought everyone was going to be like topical. I've gone a little bit.
Oh
strange.
no, you're
Yeah.
fine.
So basically, I've gone with, because I think we're all gamers here as well, possibly. So if virtual reality games, like truly immersive reality games, became a thing where you could actually like have sensation inside of the game as you're playing it. Like, how far would you want to go? Like, how immersive would you want to be? Would you be able to feel like the sword blows as they hit you or whatever and stuff like that? Or would you just want it to be just visual? Or
I want to fuck Salma Hayek in the ass and feel every second. That's my answer.
Damn. Okay.
Fair enough.
So all the way for him. All right. Sweet.
Yeah.
Why not?
The whole shebang.
Have you watched Mirror Black or Black Mirror, whichever? I always mix it up in my
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, yeah.
No, but it was Existenz that.
Existenz. Oh yes, Existenz.
Yeah.
Well, I like binge watched that show, and I've always felt this way, but that show solidified it in my mind. I will never mess with virtual reality stuff because the second you start messing with that, you have to start questioning everything about reality. Like, when do you know what the difference is? If it all feels and looks and everything like it's real, how do you know when you actually took off the fucking virtual reality?
That's a fair point. But whenever I see stuff like Log Horizon or
Log Horizon was amazing.
Yeah, like Sword Art Online or anything like that, like I get to the mindset to where like having your subconscious transfer into a game to where now playing this game means that you are physically well, at least in a subconscious sense inside of this game, to where it's like a second world that you live in, has been unbelievably fascinating to me, which is probably only due to the fact that I fucking hate the earth. So it's just like
forget about the idea that only your consciousness is in that game. Like, there was a movie with Bruce Willis, Surrogates or something like that.
Surrogates, yeah.
So they can like move your body and stuff while your mind is fucking somewhere else.
I know, yeah, there's that too, but you know, it's just like
why don't you just do LSD? Just
right.
Hardcore psychedelic drugs, man, and
yeah. I think for me there's a distance between how far into such an experience I would want to go and how far I think it would be healthy to do so. Because I mean, just to show off my age a little bit, back when the internet first appeared, and people were using IRC chat and message boards and things like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, you'd hear these stories of people who never left their houses, who created these whole personas for themselves just in text. And, you know, you had those stories about catfishing and everything and people becoming so involved in it that they started going crazy in the real world, trying to sort of balance out the fantasy part of the internet and the real world. I really wonder, and sort of morbidly wonder, if we had a situation where you could enter into a virtual world that was, well, maybe not indistinguishable from the real world, but was at least so sensorily whole that you might as well be there. What kind of insanities we might see with people trying to balance out reality versus, you know, the fake?
I mean, of course, because a lot of people share my views on just like hating the world in general. There's going to be plenty of people who are like, okay, I'm in this world now. Life is better in this world. I have a false sense of control in this world. I don't give a fuck what's happening in the real world. Like, a lot of people are going to be that way, and people are going to be quitting their jobs and shit. And I think that's why they're like trying to avoid it, because with the mental instability that is running rampant right now in the world, I don't know if we're particularly ready to kind of trade our lives, you know, to have a scenario where you could literally trade your life for another one, and you know, in probably the closest sense that you could do something like that, because people would fucking be on it. They would willingly do it. They'd leave only to eat. I mean,
after like 2 weeks of being continuously stabbed and shot at and spewed up on by poisonous frogs and attacked by demons, and you know, like, they'd probably get sick of their lives, to be fair.
Well, it's not so much that too, but I mean, I just think back to a friend of mine who, and this is years ago, but when Ultima Online came on for the first time, and her husband spent lots of real money buying fake stuff for the game. And so when I think about the virtual reality stuff, I mean, there's just the plain experience of it, but there's also obviously the monetization of it, because it's going to be a service. It's going to be something that's being produced for you, and there's going to be a component to it that's going to require expenditure of money. And if people get addicted to this, like they do to video games, like that guy that died playing StarCraft for 72 hours straight or something, I can't even imagine what happens if you get addicted to a separate world and you have to also go to work occasionally.
There was those people. They were so addicted to the video game that they were letting their real kids starve.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
What fucking happened?
Y'all would probably have to call the fucking the ambulance on me because I would probably be one of those people.
You just be this dried husk with this like little headset on.
Like, what happened to Satsu? Yeah, he's a zombie now.
But control, I'll admit that control issues are why I couldn't do shit like that. That's why I never could do hard drugs or anything like other people in my family did either, because I couldn't fucking hand over that kind of control of myself to something like a game or a drug.
Yeah.
No, I've never even
LSD.
been able to drink till I was blackout drunk. I have to be able to think. I can't do that shit.
Yeah. I mean, my addiction to like games and stuff like that comes from an escapist mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just like I've been dealing with anxiety and shit like that my whole life, and I'm grounded. You know, when I play the game, because you get that false sense of control. And even though there are things that you can't control, there's always a way to figure it out. You know what I mean? There's so many things in like regular life where you're just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do about this? And I'm just like, when I'm on a game, I'm like, fucking Google, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
I'm that way like half the time. Half the time I'm very escapist and I want to just dive into a book or a TV show or something like that. And half the time I'm way too introspective and I just want to analyze the fuck out of everything that happened in my life and figure out how it made me make stupid decisions and why I shouldn't make them again.
Oh yeah. And I'd like to think that most people would like to be that way. I'm not gonna say it a lot because some people, I swear to God, like I know some people living in a fucking time machine where it's just like, I've been gone for 10 years. I ain't seen you in 10 years. And I swear to God, you are the same human. Like nothing has changed. That is so shocking. And it baffles me to see people like that. So I do have to snap myself out of that mindset sometimes, because there are times where I'm just like, man, can I just fucking get cryogenically frozen until I figure my shit out?
Right?
Let's see. Am I
Unfortunately,
oh, sorry.
Sorry, man. Unfortunately, cryogenically freezing yourself until you figure your shit out would just unfreeze you later with none of your shit figured out.
I know.
Yeah, just as confused.
No,
Just with
no.
a load of
The
like
pro-
200 years of technology to get used to. What the fuck?
The process is the destination. You have to keep, in the words of the outstanding rock band Tool, you've got to keep spiraling out, looking and pushing your own personal envelope to figure the shit out. And then eventually you'll die with absolutely no idea what the fuck happened. So just enjoy it and learn shit. Don't fucking think too much about it, man.
If I adapt as quickly as the characters from Fallout 4 did, then I should be all right.
No, believe in the concept. If you get cryogenically frozen, your brain is still awake the whole time.
Yeah, I've seen some really scary sci-fi on that notion.
Me too.
Am I completely speaking of brain? Am I brain dead? Satsu, have you asked a question yet, or am I just phasing out here?
I didn't.
You didn't. Okay, your turn.
No.
What's one of your questions?
Well, my how far would you go question kind of stemmed from the whole Netflix thing where they have that Dear White People thing going out. And I just thought it was completely ridiculous how many people were like, I'm deleting my Netflix or whatever. So I was just wondering, like, how far would you go, as far as, deleting a service, or how far would a company that's providing a service that you pay for, how far would they have to go for you to like delete their service? You know what I mean? And just stop using it completely.
If I didn't like the majority of their content, then I probably wouldn't use the service. But one or two things that they have on there that I don't like, I could just not watch those things. And then they're not getting views on them, and they're probably not going to publish something like that again.
Yeah,
or just complain about it.
These days, probably the thing that would get me to drop a company real quick is a series of data breaches that put my financial information at risk.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, that too.
or my personal information. I mean, like it's I mean, we've seen instances of where like, oh, this company is I forget where it was. There was some city dropped a bank from doing business with a bank because they managed money for the pipeline over the Indian reservation pipeline.
Yeah.
And so, or the XL pipeline. And so because they happen to be a bank that project used in some capacity, they just dropped their contract with the bank. And I'm like, why? What does that do? It does nothing. It's just it's an empty gesture. What does that mean? It's like a statement. Oh.
Well, for me, like, I don't know, like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, I was seeing all the people and they're like, I'm deleting my Netflix, and because there's that one show, and I'm like, have you ever browsed through every show that's available on Netflix? Because I came home and my girlfriend was watching a show about grown men who like to dress up like dolls. Like, they buy these masks and full body suits with vaginas and boobs on them, and they walk around like dolls. And I'm like, do you want to be paying for that? Because I don't think that's something you watch.
I mean, I personally feel like they have the right, do whatever the fuck you want to do, but I feel like it's going too far. I wouldn't do it, but that's me.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just like, that sounds a little extreme, right? Because I'm like, if you take a look into your car company, like the people you bought the car from, the people who you buy cable from, especially if you have like Time Warner or DirecTV, those people are absolute monsters to their employees. I worked in one of their call centers for like a week. It's the most horrible experience I think I've ever had in a business environment ever.
Mm-hmm.
They are horrible human beings. And I was just like, this type of shit is going on daily. Like, there's no telling what you're paying for or what you're subscribed to, where, there's just damages against humanity happening daily that you pay for willingly. So are you telling me if you find all this shit out, will you like just stop using everything that you use? And most people are like, no, of course not. And I'm like, well, chill the fuck out. Like, calm down. It's okay.
And it depends on how, like, if I found out that particular clothes store that I used, I don't know, like, found out beyond a shadow of a doubt that they used child labor to make the clothes, then I'd probably stop buying clothes from there.
Dude, Kathy Griffin found out that the people that were making her brand, I think it was Kathy Griffin, I don't want to be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was her, found out in the 90s that the people that were making her brand of clothing were using child slave labor, and she had just spoken out like against that, like had a whole big conference against child slave labor, and she kept using them.
Oh. Yeah,
oh dear.
Yeah, the dropping of subscriptions in response to this sounds like the kind of thing that I would have heard the SJWs doing during Gamergate.
And that's what I was saying. I was like, I kind of hope that everybody, I wish like Hulu jumped on it. Like everybody, all the other like streaming medias, everybody was like, we're all going to host this at the same time. And we'll see if the Triggered like are willing to give up every single one of their entertainment venues just because.
The thing is, right, what we're seeing here.
I actually don't have cable or anything. We just stream. We have TVs.
What we're seeing here is, shut the fuck up. What we're seeing here is the advancement of a particular brand of shut up. Of marketing. Oh my god! Like, I'm literally going to come around Europe and then start slapping people. What you're seeing here is a particular brand of
bacon.
Come on, children, give them a second.
Sorry, carry on.
Are we done?
I already stopped.
Are we done? Shut up, man. Right. What we're seeing here is a particular brand of marketing strategy that's been running around for about the last 6 or 7 years, where outrage is as good as positive press, which you see through. It was particularly pushed into the forefront by a guy called Ryan Halliday, who was a disciple of Robert Greene, author of 48 Laws of Power. And he was responsible for all the most controversial American apparel ads, with ones like that looks like girls who look like they're nearly underage with upskirt shots and shit like this. And he had a client called Tucker Max in about 2011 who's putting out a movie, and they ran a huge disinformation campaign, basically pretending to be feminist, pretending to be outraged, demanding this movie to be banned, taking out really offensive advertisements and then defacing them, calling Tucker Max a cunt and Hitler and all this kind of shit. And of course, his book goes to #1. And his movie does great business. And what you're seeing with Dear White People is the slightly toned down version of this. You put out a trailer. These people aren't dumb. They know marketing strategy better than just about everyone. They have degrees in this shit. This is, I mean, I work in digital marketing, and like they put this trailer out, and it's yeah, sure. Their video is going to get 1 million thumbs down on YouTube. They don't give a fuck. What's going to happen is that everybody is going to be tuning in to see if it really is as racist as everyone says it is, and if it is, then that's another fucking round of applause. And if it isn't, that's Vox and Mike.com and Slate all saying, oh my God, look how stupid racist the right wing are. Either way, the people who produce this TV show have already won. It doesn't matter if like 20 rednecks unsubscribe. Doesn't matter.
That sounds like a new twist on the same marketing that was brought over by Sigmund Freud's nephew or whatever. They just used it differently back then. It was, you're trying to get people to like what you're advertising. You're trying to get them to associate it with, you know, sex and being cool. And that was all a twist of Sigmund Freud's psychology.
Yeah.
I have one opposing example for that. Though I don't disagree, but I'll just say Ghostbusters. The exact same thing was done with Ghostbusters, and it flopped. Now, the exact same thing.
That was absolute dog shit.
Sure, but here's the thing, and you're not wrong, because the first time I really noticed it was with the Mad Max Fury Road, where you had an entertaining movie, which helped it a lot. But the other thing is that with the supposed attack on it for being feminist and all this, it was turned into a social cause to go see the movie. Not that the movie was necessarily any good, but that by doing so was a statement of solidarity with feminism and women and etc. And I just thought, you guys are idiots. I mean, I had friends that were like, oh my God, we're going to go see this movie. We're still going to show those guys. I was like, no, wait a second. All you're doing is putting money into the wallets of the movie studio. They don't care about your reason. They just want your ass in the seat. And you're falling for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so
the reason that failed, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say the success of this marketing strategy will still depend on the quality of the product. Mad Max was a entertaining movie. Ghostbusters was a piece of shit. And they both tried the same thing by turning it into a cause to see it. So at the end, I think it kind of just evens out.
Not necessarily, because what we're looking at with Ghostbusters was, if you see this movie, you are making a statement of how progressive you are. And if you hate on this movie, you are a racist. Now with Dear White People, the statement is already out. It is an offensive measure. It doesn't matter whether you see this movie because you're totally cool with black people or if you hate white people. It doesn't matter. A moral choice. It's not an ethical position to take, whether to watch it or not. The position that is taken is to boycott. And once you boycott, then, well, that's all you can do. That's as far as you can run down that line.
Oh, yeah, and I disagree with the boycott because, first off, it's ineffective, and secondly, it just shows that everybody who would complain about other people having thin skin just showed their own hand.
Yeah. That was really interesting watching the whole Ghostbusters thing unfold, too, because unlike the other movie, they did it to themselves, because there was already a narrative of outrage from just like people who were genuinely upset about the fact that there were women, that type of thing. And those people were ignored by both us and, anybody else who had a remote interest in the movie. They were just like, yeah, those people are assholes, whatever. We don't want to see the movie because they're fucking up the brand. But the reason that they flopped so hard is because instead of letting that natural sense of just like outrage come out from people who were kind of irrelevant, they pumped it up and they made it seem a lot bigger than it was. And they antagonized and poked at actual fans who weren't really outraged. So what happened is they pretty much shot themselves in the foot, because if they would have just let it roll on and said that these criticisms are happening by people who are irrelevant and don't matter, but we're going to keep pushing this movie and we hope that the fans like it, they would have been okay. They would have been fine. But they started shitting on the fan base and comparing, like coupling them with the outraged idiots that everybody was ignoring. You know what I mean? And they shot themselves in the foot because they alienated the fan base on top of the fucking, the bigots who already didn't want to see it because of stupid reasons.
It also failed for kind of the same reason that everybody's saying you had to vote for Hillary Clinton because she had a vag failed.
Yeah.
Because there's a large group of us women that are like, fuck you, I don't think with my vag. I like Ghostbusters and I don't like what they're doing with this. And I don't want some psychotic bitch that laughs about blaming a 12-year-old child for her own rape to be my president.
Yeah. That shit's crazy. It was shocking how much they decided, because I was like, the worst thing they can do in this scenario is attack the Ghostbusters fans. As long as they don't do that, and then I turn on the TV and they're like, Ghostbusters fans are shit, and I'm like, okay.
Oh.
Dude, does that not bother you about feminists trying to get Hillary Clinton for president when literally she is the first example they can come up with of someone using "she wanted it" as a legal defense for a child being raped?
Oh yeah, Hillary was everything that feminists should be standing against, and for whatever reason, they were just like, I don't care. They put on blindfolds and they plug their ears, and they're just like, whatever. She has a vagina. Shut up.
And they did the same thing with Ghostbusters. The three chicks, the one chick did kind of okay. I don't remember her name, but the black lady, she did
that okay. You don't remember her name.
I don't remember anybody's name. I'm terrible with fucking names.
Yeah, so
Leslie Jones.
There you go. Yeah. She, from what I've heard and seen, because I hadn't actually watched the movie, I've just seen bits and pieces. She did kind of okay until the way they wrote her was horrible. And she was just reading out the crappy lines they gave her, and you could tell. But the others, their acting was just straight up horrible. They were horrible. That's what people had a problem with, not that they had a badge.
Oh, yeah. But they had to push that narrative, though, because they thought it would work. And if you actually do some research into the person, like the director, the person who made it, this dude is like Steve Shives level cuck. And he just, oh my God. He prostrates himself.
Paul Feig is a character. There's, for anybody interested, there's a YouTube channel called Midnight's Edge. And they have they do really, really good documentary investigative type stuff into genre movies, like the comic book movies, like Ghostbusters. They have a whole series on all the behind the scenes dirt and everything that was going on with the production, and it's really interesting. So if anybody interested in that or the comic book movies and everything else, Midnight's Edge. Here's my free plug for them. But anyway.
And a great review of Ghostbusters itself that side by sides exactly how they screwed up the original movie in the new one is Rationalist Yoda. He has a great fucking review of it.
I have to check that out too.
Okay, well, I think it's my turn. I waited to give all my guests a chance. Now I get to ask my stupid questions.
Let's go.
Okay, so here is my first question. What is the most extreme length that you have gone to express your fandom of something?
Oh boy. Huh.
I used to write fan fiction on fanfiction.net.
I used to do that too. What'd you write about?
I have one that's Spike Dawn pairing, and then I have a Shishomaru Kagome and a Hinata Naruto, but I never finished any of these. I started writing them all back in high school. I have more of them written in my notebooks than is actually online. But my Shishomaru Kagome is my most popular. It's like one of the most popular for that genre, or it was. It's called One Man's Trash is Another's Treasure by Ayla Marie, if you want to go look it up.
That's
interesting. I was like 14 when I wrote it.
I mean, I've never really done anything too extreme, honestly, because I'm in love with like gaming, and I love anime, and I love music, and stuff like that or whatever. And I'm subscribed to like, Loot Crate, and I got posters and shit all over my walls, and I got all kinds of swag. Like you'll see my dedication to my fandom based on, the monetary value that I give it. I spend lots of money on just fucking shit and stuff.
Oh yeah,
shit.
Yeah.
I forgot that part. As
think
far as
that's
that
right.
goes, I have Hogwarts robes. I have Hermione's wand. I have a time turner.
Oh God.
I have all the books.
Kill yourself.
Yeah.
Kill yourself.
Yeah, I've bought
No,
collector's editions. Look, I've bought collector's editions of games that I don't even play or haven't even played just because they had cool shit in it. I'm just like, oh my God.
I paid to get Walter from Fringe's autograph and meet him when I was at Comic-Con in London. That was quite cool.
That's
For the longest time, I still had Conker's Bad Fur Day, even though I didn't have an N64 anymore. I finally had to sell it because I needed the money, though.
I did the same thing with the gold Ocarina of Time cartridge. I was just like, I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, I finally had to give it up, though.
Porco.
It was like the original one.
You know that mine's going to be drugs related, right?
Oh, you're just a fan of drugs. A fan of drugs.
Well, yeah, because like right now, from my on my right shoulder running down to my right elbow, I currently sport a dot work tattoo of Ganesh exploding out of the cosmic background radiation of the universe, involved with impossible geometry and shit. And this is because of my fandom of DMT that changed my life entirely. And I figured that eventually I'm not going to be smoking DMT. So I need to remember what the fuck that shit showed me about myself. So I decided to spend more money than I could afford and hours and hours of pain to permanently remind myself to not be a dick.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, see, I was wondering if anybody had gotten a tattoo for something, because I see people with like Star Wars tattoos or like Harry Potter tattoos of ridiculous arrangement on themselves. But yeah, okay.
No tattoos.
My only tattoo so far.
I'm a Hindu god. Fuck it.
My only tattoo so far is one I drew up myself that represents me and my husband. And the other one that I want is my children's names. My friend drew them in cursive and they form a heart. And I want to put that on my other arm. So I have my hearts on my sleeves, my boys on my arms.
Yeah, I guess monetary expenditure would probably be because between the comic books I own and collected over the years when I was a comic book freakazoid, the role-playing game books that I just have way, way, way too many of, and the DVD collections of like TV shows and movie series that I like. But the piece of expression I'm most proud of is my homemade lightsaber hilt, which I made out of pieces of sprinkler system and sink pipe and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it looks really good. I have to say, it looks really good, and it's all made out of. And it looks like a prop you'd see, on a movie or something. But it's all made out of, I took clothespins and split them in half, and then painted them with liquid rubber in order to make them a grip, and all this. So it's really good looking.
That sounds cool. You gotta put a picture of it up.
Yeah, I think I'll put a picture up maybe sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to. I definitely got to see that.
Yeah, I can't forget to tell you this one though. My husband actually bought legitimate Dragon Balls before our wedding to hand out to his groomsmen, and he kept the 4 Dragon Ball to give to our son because I was pregnant.
Oh, that's legit. That's
Nice.
fucking awesome.
He had an extra one too, thank goodness, because we had another son, so we gave him one too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've spent I like the Loot Crate stuff or whatever that comes in or whatever, but like if you guys ever see my gaming shelf, there's like I got statues and fucking books and light novels from like all types of stuff that I've paid for. I paid $150 for a collector edition of Witcher 3 and I played it twice. So
my husband is pissed at a friend of ours because he stole all of his like DM books from Dungeons and Dragons. He had like all of them.
Oh yeah, and some of those are worth money now.
Yeah, your thing made me remember that. And we want to teach our kids too, so then we'll have 4 people and we can play again as soon as they're old enough. We used to play.
And I guess I guess the other, I don't know if this is extreme or something, but I used to be a LARPer. Not so much anymore.
A little extreme.
It is a little extreme. So there's a lot of costuming and a lot of acting and stuff that went into that. LARPers live action role play. So basically, you take one of your tabletop role playing games.
I always wanted to do that.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, it's a little extreme, but it sounds fun.
yeah, I played in a group for just under 10 years, and the entire game was nothing but Vampire the Masquerade. And it was an ongoing narrative. So when I joined up to the day I left, it was one continuous story. And
that sounds badass.
It was really cool. And aside from, I didn't spend too much on costuming. I made stuff up as I went along. But the last character I played, I shaved my facial hair specifically for that character, and I've kept that style ever since. And it's not exactly like getting a tattoo or something, but it was the most but the furthest I ever went in a physical change on myself to represent something that was just a matter of fandom.
Stop describing your face. You have no face. Your back is to it.
It's true. Yeah, you don't know. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm a faceless guy. Let's see. Amanda, I think it's your turn again. What was your second question?
My second question was, like, how far would you go to protect your kids? Because, like, I just did a live stream the other day with Running Guns on his other channel about this sick dude. He's genuinely sick. Like, I'm convinced the whole time he's doing this video, he's virtue signaling because he has a child picked out that he wants to do something to.
Yeah.
And if I saw this dude,
Nuclear fucking war.
Yeah, I'm certain of it.
Simple. Nuclear fucking war. Destruction of everybody, including this live stream. Everybody on the entire fucking planet. And I don't even have kids.
Yeah, I don't have kids either.
Me neither.
If I even saw this dude
you go near my
walk
missus,
up-
I kill you. Simple.
Yeah. Like, I told everybody that they should share out his shit. I want people that he knows to eventually see this shit so somebody figures out that it's their kid he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't think there's a middle ground for that question. I mean, either you care about your kids or you don't. I don't know that there's like sort of a middling answer to that.
Well, I mean, because it is, I realize it's a bit hypocritical against my stance that somebody has to do something violent and that words are never a reason to violently attack somebody. But if I so much as saw this dude walk towards my child, because of the things I've heard him say, I would consider that a threat to my child and I would attack him.
Well, those things though are based on things he actually did. Because when we're talking about like ideas, especially like some of the people, they say they have ideas that are fascist in nature, therefore they are violent. I'm like, but have they carried out any of these tasks? And they're like, no, but they talk about it. I'm like, no, that's not the same thing. So
Amanda, just call him a Nazi and you'll be fine.
But if there's a dude talking about his exploits with actual children, like this is something he engages in and talks about doing, then you're like, well, yeah, that's a clear indication that this person, if your kid was a part like one of his targets, he would do. I'm sure.
He never says a child's name or anything. It's just the way that he says it. He says that it's having sex with a child is a bond strengthening activity with a child you already have a platonic love for. That makes me certain that there's some kid he's babysitting or he's an uncle to. There's some kid out there he's talking about just from the way he talks. I know.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know the person who you're talking about, and it does sound like he's speaking from experience. Like, it doesn't sound like he's being, what's the word I'm looking for?
Facetious.
Yeah. Like, it sounds like he's talking about like scenarios that are actually taking place.
Yeah,
and
that he's either done something to or he's wanting to do something to. So he's saying, this is why it's okay that I want to do this.
That's
omnipresent.
That's why I wish I had superpowers. Just take certain people out of the equation.
That's a tricky one, though. Like, context matters.
Yeah, what you're talking about there, Laura, is you're working into the perfect weapons scenario. And if you had, say you had a perfect weapon that you could kill anyone at any time, it shows the ethics of the person using that as to what kind of person they are. So, for example, if you put it in the hands of George W. Bush, would the Iraq War have lasted as long as it did? No, it didn't. It would not, because he's probably not a totally evil man. He would have gone, right, okay, we'll just take Saddam out of the equation and we'll go from there. But if you put it into the hands of Abu Bakr Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, we'd all be in a lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it would be nice, but once you bring these kind of weapons into the theoretical gameplay, then what do? Like you're killing someone for saying he'd like to do this to a child. Now you can him at his word and go, right, okay, well, you're a dangerous motherfucker and I want to fucking kill you. Or you can go, well, dude, you can't do that. You really should be fucking put on a fucking watch list. And if you do that, we'll take your balls. Simple.
Yeah, like he can say whatever he wants as long as I don't ever see him walk near my child. That's all I'm saying. If I see him walk near my child, that I'm going to see as a threat. And then I'll go after him.
Well, I mean, what he was saying about like putting the weapon into a person's hand can change the outcome depending on what it is. Are you guys familiar with Death Note?
Yes.
Yes.
I was just thinking that we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Who does
I haven't
not
watched
Death
it, but I
Note?
know
Oh
the
my
premise.
God.
Yeah, and
I'm taking potato chip.
My husband
Eat it.
motherfucker. We watched that together. He showed me that show, and the whole time I'm sitting there saying how much I love Elle, and he's just smiling, and I did not know why.
oh man, like the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen the live action movies, but like most anime adaptations that are like translated over to live action are garbage. They're terrible. But the two movies they made for Death Note were excellent. Like they were done very well.
I've seen one of them, and it was good.
Yeah, they were very good. I actually got my mom to sit and watch both of them back to back, and she fucking hates the shit that I watch. She's like, she never understood like my fascination with this type of stuff, but she watched both movies, and it was just like my little brother. He's like a rebel type person or whatever, so he resonated with Light a lot, and he was like, yeah, he's doing the right thing, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't fuck with Light, because I'm like, if you really think about it though, he's kind of a piece of shit. And in retrospect, he's more of a piece of shit than a lot of the people who he thinks deserves to die.
Yeah,
because like he's a walking contradiction. You know what I mean? Like he has all these views that seem righteous in nature, but he's taking the lives of other people who he deems not worthy of living. And yeah, it's crazy.
my husband is a
To
fan of
create the
Light.
perfect world, would you kill?
See, I couldn't answer that question. I like to think that I wouldn't, but I mean, you put that type of power in my hand, and people start disappearing.
I do believe in the death penalty, but I think it should be reserved for people like serial killers, serial rapists, and pedophiles. People you have an established basis for believing they cannot be cured. Like science says that pedophiles cannot be cured. So if they've done something and they've touched a child, I think they should be eligible for the death penalty right then.
I mean, anybody.
I disagree.
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
I disagree on the death penalty for paedophilia. I think it is. I mean, like, to be fair, you touch a kid, then shit, man, you go rot in jail, and you get chemically castrated in case you do get out.
But that doesn't stop them. That's been proven.
No. Well, neither does the death penalty. Otherwise, the death penalty would be very effective against serial killers. You still have serial killers.
And you stop.
If you are.
The death penalty does stop that one, though. The one that.
That one. What you look. Right, okay.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
It stops him.
It stops that one.
Okay.
It saves
Translate.
possibly thousands of kids. They never stop. It's been proven. They never stop.
Yeah, of course. So do you know what else is exactly the same as what you're advocating? In Saudi Arabia, you steal a loaf of bread, you lose your hand. And yet people still steal loaves of bread. The punishment is not sufficient. What is necessary for
Sorry, go ahead.
It's not sufficient to deter future pedophiles, which is really, if you've already caught that one pedophile and he's in a box somewhere, well, you've stopped him whether you kill him or not. What you're looking for is some method to deter other pedophiles. Now, we can clearly see that the death penalty is not a deterrent. I mean, the suicide rate amongst pedophiles is fucking sky high. These motherfuckers have a shit time at the best times. Not I'm saying too much sympathy if you touch a kid, but if you're born into a body and your sexual orientation is towards children,
Well,
damn, that's going to mess with your head. So to deter people, you need something other than capital punishment, because they don't give a fuck.
no.
We need to work around within our system to reach out to pedophiles to say, right, okay, we need a system to say that they can talk to people without being, so they can say, right, I'm having these urges and I don't want to do shit about it. Help
Look,
me.
I'm totally fine with those that have never touched a child, those that are usually children themselves, because if they do have that problem, they usually understand and recognize that it's a problem when they're children, and they'll admit that. Like that one that came out and admitted, he said he knew it was a problem when he was 7 years old. So if a child comes to an adult that they trust and says, hey, I have a problem, I need help, totally believe we need better mental help in place to make sure that these kind of people get help. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying once you've done something, once you've touched a child, once you've proven that you're not going to seek that help and you are a dangerous individual, you deserve to get the death penalty. I'm not saying it will deter crime. I'm saying that that person, they've proven that they're not going to seek help, and they're already at a point where help is not going to do anything. Science has said that they will never stop, they will only get worse, and they will harm more and more kids. So they should die.
Well, I'm with you up until they should die.
I should also point out that I am the victim of childhood sexual assault, so I do take a more hard-nosed view on the fact that they should fucking die.
I can well understand it. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm entirely right. This is one thing that I don't have any experience on, but I disagree on the death penalty for that. There's some cases I think it's perfectly reasonable, but it'd be fucking genocide and shit.
I can understand both sides of the argument, though. Like I can see where both parties are coming from, and
yeah, I mean, I could happily argue for the death penalty for it as well. You know.
Yeah.
I can understand it from an emotional perspective as far as like instituting the death penalty for a pedophile. The reason I oppose the death penalty isn't necessarily a humanitarian thing, is because death is a release. Death isn't a punishment. I mean, the mechanical difference between putting somebody to death for a crime they committed and putting your dog down because they're sick, there's no difference. One's an act of mercy, the other one's an act of punishment. They're both just essentially an escape from responsibility. So locking somebody in a box for the rest of their life, first and foremost, to me, is far more of a punishment than letting them go to sleep and not experience anything. Because, I mean, have you ever fallen asleep and not realized it till after you woke up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's essentially death, is falling asleep and not waking up. That's not a punishment. And the other thing, too, is that the death penalty is predicated on the notion that the system that puts somebody in that position is perfect. That there's no chance that this person's innocent. There's no chance that this person isn't deserving of having their life taken away from them. And we know that that's not true. And
that's true.
Who's clicking?
What?
There's a clicking sound over and over again. Is somebody clicking or tapping something?
That might have been me. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's okay. I just want to make sure that nothing.
He's a nervous little chap. He is Satsu.
But that's why I'm against the death penalty. Is not because I'm a bleeding heart liberal, so to speak, but because I don't. First, like you said, there's no proof that it is an effective deterrent for crime to begin with, whatever crime we're talking about. And secondly, and this happened in Texas not too long ago. A guy was put to death for the death of his children in a house fire that they said he set, and it wasn't until after he was dead that they figured out no, it was an accident. I would rather not live in a society where we make judgments on people's permanent punishment, even on the slimmest of chance that we could be wrong, because there's no infallible system.
Agreed.
There's also not any coming back from that. It's like you send somebody to jail for a while, and it's like, okay, well, we can let them out, and there's that. And once you kill a person, it's like, oh well, our bad. It's just like no, that's not.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the death penalty if you're 100% sure that person is wrong and needs to be removed from society. But if you can't do it without a shadow of a doubt, then
locking
because
up in a
the
box
whole
for the
killing them. And that's not enough suffering from them. That's just pandering to your feelings.
Yeah,
that's not doing anything to society.
No, killing the person
for society's benefit, removing that person from society to stop causing suffering is the aim, not how you feel about how that person is suffering.
Killing
Like-
killing a person is simply an expression of catharsis on the basis of the society and or the victims. It doesn't actually do anything. If you put the guy in a box for the rest of his natural life, it'll have the exact same effect of removing them from society.
Well, not really, because then he's a strain on society because we'll have to feed him.
It's a hell of a lot less to put somebody in jail for the rest of their life than the appeals process and in the death penalty. Trust
If
me.
you look at like the jails that they have in other countries where they grow their own food and bake their own bread, like the prisoners are their own little self-sufficient community. I think we should have something like that in a place like Alcatraz where they're like fucking away from an island somewhere. Send people like that there if you don't want to kill them. I'm fine with that. They're just not in society. They nowhere near a child ever again.
Yeah. And then you airdrop in
yourself.
Jack Daniels and methamphetamines, and then you film the whole thing and put it up on pay-per-view, and all the profits go to the victims' families.
So Running Man, basically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Running Man. It's like here's a stack of
okay.
rebar, here's a stack of LSD, and here's a stack of Jack Daniels. We'll film it. You guys go at it, and that's it.
Plot twist: the Jack Daniels is spiked with meth.
Oh. Okay, I think between death penalty and pedophilia, we've gone far beyond the start of the question.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just that there's a certain point. It's okay. We gotta change things up a little bit. I think we've come back around to Porco. I think it's Porco's turn, isn't it?
Shit, I still don't have
Okay, well then we'll go on to Laura.
How far? Oh no, I've got it.
Okay.
How far would you go if you had one chance or one
Oh
opportunity?
God.
Would you grip it?
Just sees everything.
Would you let it slip?
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Not much, because they're not that good.
I've never even eaten one. I have no idea what that
What
is.
would you do for a Klondike bar? Okay, so how far would you go to just have one opportunity to what now?
To one chance.
One chance
Only
to
To do something you've always wanted to do.
To seize everything you ever wanted for one moment. Would you own it or just let it slip?
Wait, how far would you?
Back to
Is this a rap song?
It is. It's an Eminem song.
So that he won't give up that easy. No, he won't.
Oh my God!
Please
About to do the
stop.
whole song.
Okay, Texas rap. No Texas rap, please.
It's Eminem.
Okay.
It's been a
Okay.
while.
Okay. How about this then? How far would you go to resurrect Brittany Murphy in 8 Mile and then have your little way with her because she's dead now, and that makes me sad.
So, how far would I be willing to go
Well,
to fuck zombie Brittany Murphy?
Somebody killed Brittany Murphy, man. Have you seen that? That's crazy.
No, I thought she killed herself.
Well, it's nobody really knows is the thing. It was a lot of crazy circumstances. Nobody exactly knows what the fuck happened.
Elvis
So
is
I
still
lean
alive
towards
too.
Somebody killed her.
I mean, like, I don't know what the prevalence of hot, young millionaire movie stars are and their relationship with large amounts of cocaine is, but I don't know, maybe there's something to it.
In Hollywood? Gee, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm just a humble pig.
Yeah.
To my means.
Yeah.
I mean,
Humble. Let me underline that word.
A humble
Humble.
pig
Yeah.
with necrophilia.
humble pig.
A hobo pig with necrophilia? Okay.
It's just more fun. Like, it's more intrigue and shit if you lean towards somebody. If she killed herself, then that's just too simple.
Yeah, conspiracy theories are fun to a point.
Exactly. Nobody knows what really happened, so it's more fun to try and look into it. If
All
somebody
right.
did it.
Well, if nobody has a question, I'd like to know how far everybody would go for $1 million.
Shit.
Oh, I obviously I'd fuck Robert Redford. And that is a callback. If you're old enough to know what I'm talking about, good on you.
No, that went way over my head.
Yeah.
It was a movie it was a movie called Indecent Proposal with Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore, and Robert Redford. And the premise of the entire thing is you have this couple that's super duper in love and they're dedicated to each other. And then Robert Redford, they meet at a casino, and he basically says he's playing a game with him because he's some super rich guy, and he says, "I'll give you $1 million for one night with your wife." And then this question and this situation where they're, of course, low on cash and everything else, and they're trying to start out their lives, the whole tumult of the entire story is based around, does she do this? How does it affect their relationship? What does it mean if she does this for the ends that they're going for, etc.? And so, yeah.
Robert Redford's the guy from Smokey and the Bandit, right?
No, that's Burt
No,
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Okay, then never mind. Who's Robert Redford? What does he look like?
It's, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Fucking. Man, he was
Captain America:
fucking
Winter
back in the
Soldier.
day.
Did you see Captain America: Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Okay, so between Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and Winter
Google him.
Soldier, you have. Do you watch movies?
Yeah, I'm gonna Google.
Do you
this.
watch movies?
I watch
Do you
movies,
even
but
movie?
I have 2 kids, right? I have 2
It
kids,
depends,
and I
like, if
didn't
it's-
used to watch movies and stuff. I used to read books.
You need to resurrect
Yeah,
that VCR.
Hey, everybody, we got someone. We got a reader. We got somebody who reads for pleasure.
Nerd.
Nerd.
I am
Nerd.
I've never denied that.
Reading's
I love
amazing.
books.
It's the best thing ever invented.
Hmm.
Well, let's just say I wouldn't kill for $1 million.
I definitely would not
it's
be
a
Robert
weird
Redford how he
moral.
looks now.
See,
It's a weird moral one.
people always like to mess up that question though, like the would you kill for $1 million? And I'm like, see, I can't answer that question accurately because there's gonna have to be more detail. Like if
Yeah,
you tell
who am I
me,
killing?
yeah, because it's like, who am I killing? What did they do? Or rather, if I do kill this person, will anybody be knowledgeable of this but me and you? Because like that shit matters. Because I'll be like, hell no.
Why do-
I'm like, no,
I'm
I'll
not gonna
never.
get caught.
I'll never do
Well,
that.
There was that movie. There was that movie that like the chick got a box. No, I still wouldn't do him how he used to look. No, he's not that good looking. Anyway, but there was that movie. There was a box, and it's got a button, and you get money.
Yes.
You know, you're supposed to push the button at a certain time, and then you get money. And somebody in the world somewhere dies. And you don't know who. You don't know how. You don't know anything like that. You just push the button, and you get like $1 million. I would probably do that.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? There's a movie called Would You Rather on Netflix. I don't know if
God.
you guys ever saw it. You seen that movie?
No.
No, I have not.
Well, basically, the dude goes around and he talks to people who are just like financially in trouble, and he just tells them like, I can help you. I can fix all of your problems. You just got to meet me at this location, and you know, we'll work this out. And basically, the premise is he has like 9 people sitting at a table, and he'll pick like 2 horrible things. So like he'll say, would you rather me stick this knife into your arm or stick this knife into the person's arm next to you? You know what I mean? And like the idea is to like essentially the win, you kind of have to be selfish, but you have to pick your battles because like depending on what that person, when it's their turn, like he'll give them the option to like fuck you up or something like that. And people die. Like people actually fucking die in this situation because idealistically there's only supposed to be one person left and they get the money.
That's
but
crazy. I would not do that.
it's fucked up. You should watch it. It's hilarious. It has the dude from it has the dude who played the Penguin from Gotham in it.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah.
But on
Yeah.
that note, I have to bow out because
Oh, yes.
I have the stream starting in 10 minutes. So
Okay. Bye, Amanda.
bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks for
Amanda.
having me.
Later.
Yeah, the whole question reminds me of this Alfred Hitchcock plot that I saw a long time ago, and it was this normal guy like living in some little down apartment. He gets a letter one day that doesn't have a return address on or anything, and inside it just says, "When it said essentially like when Joe Smith dies, you will get $500." And then like 2 days later, Joe Smith had a heart attack, and $500 were sent to this guy. And he's just like, what the hell? And then a letter comes the next day and it says, when Jane Doe dies, you will get $1,000. And then something happens and she dies and he gets $1,000. And then a letter shows up and it says, when, Marcus Garvey or something dies, you'll get $5,000. And so he waits and the days go by. There's no 5,000. And he looks up who this guy is. And he's like, where's my money? And so he ends up going and killing Marcus Garvey or whatever to get $5,000.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Because he got addicted to it. He's like desperate for money and everything. It was just like, sort of like the Milgram experiments. You know what the Milgram experiments were?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, there was this experiment where essentially you'd have an individual sitting at a control board in a
Sounds
room with
electric
a
shocks.
yeah. So there'd be
Yeah.
a guy behind you that was essentially looked like a lab technician authority figure, and you'd be sitting in front of a board with a big dial and a button, And the guy would tell you, okay, so we're going to do this experiment where you're going to speak to someone in another room and you're going to ask them questions. And every time they get a question wrong, you hit that button to give them a shock because we're doing negative reinforcement. And then every time that they answer a question wrong, you also turn that dial up to another notch. And of course, the dial shows that there's like, how many hundreds of watts per segment you're turning it up to. And so the guy sits there at the table, and as he asks these questions and gets them wrong, he buzzes the guy, and he hears from the other room a scream, and the screams get worse over time. And you'd see this footage of these people turning to the scientist in the room saying, "Should I really be doing this?" And he's just like, "Please continue with the experiment." And the guy just kind of shrugs and just keeps on going to the point where he's basically sending death level shocks of electricity.
Yeah, I was quite surprised actually how many people went that far. To be honest with you, that was
it helped explain a lot of the it helped explain a lot of the Nazi ideology and how people were able to go as far as they did and such like that. So
I like experiments like that. They get you thinking. Just like the one where they had the office. Did you see that when they were sitting in the waiting room and every time the bell dinged,
somebody
people
stood
were
up.
standing up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was interesting too.
Let's see, whose turn is it? Laura, is it your turn?
Yeah, my question kind of a little bit tied into certain things we've been talking about, but it's basically, how many people, kind of roughly, would you be willing to kill to save the life of a loved one? So say you're like, there's a room and your mother or your partner or whatever is in the room, and there's a button to kill them instantaneously, no suffering. And then the other room's like 100 people. And you press that button to kill those. But either way, whichever one, your button you don't press, the other room dies. Like, how many people would have to be in that room before you press the button to save the people rather than your loved one?
That's the trolley problem.
Huh.
The trolley problem?
Yeah. The trolley problem is there's a trolley or a train carriage rolling down a track, and the track forks off into two. On one side, there is one person tied to the track, and on the other side, there is 5 people tied to the track.
Yeah, but this isn't just one person. This is a loved one. This is like your mother or your husband. I'm not talking about just any one person.
Well, my mum's old, I can get a new wife.
Yeah. Like how many people, like, before you press the
what's in it for me?
Loved one's gonna have to die.
What's
in it for you? Nothing.
Yeah, what's in it for me? What do I get?
Your loved one survives, apparently.
Yeah.
Right. That's supposed to be the bonus.
No, selling it really.
That's one of those impossible to answer questions. It's sort of like, well,
are you gonna pay me?
Well, my short answer is it doesn't matter. To be perfectly honest, because regardless of whatever decision you make, life is going to be taken. So at that point, the question is, are you willing to have one life on your hands of somebody you care about, or 100 lives of people you don't care about?
Well, it wouldn't be the life of your loved one.
I look at it as suffering. I look at most things as suffering. It's kind of my life philosophy. Go through life causing as little suffering as possible, and wherever you can to reduce whatever suffering you come across.
Yeah.
So if you kill that one person, even if it's your loved one, okay, you yourself are going to suffer. Okay, yes, other people are going to suffer as well that are related to your mother as well. But at that moment in time, you're thinking of your suffering, of your mother dying, who's going to die in no pain whatsoever, versus 100 people. Now, they're not going to feel any pain either, but those 100 people all have family members who are now going to suffer. So by killing just the one, rather than like killing the 100 rather than the one, you're creating more suffering in the world than just killing the one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's how I look
presumably,
at it.
if I'm in that situation, if I'm in that situation, I'm not there of my own volition. So if I had the choice between killing my mother or killing 100 people, I would kill my mother, but not because I wanted to, but because I had to, and I wouldn't want on my conscience the idea that I sacrificed a whole bunch of people that I don't know just for the sake of someone that I do. It's a simple, to me, that's a simple answer. I mean, it's not obviously not a desirable answer, but that is the simplest answer. Do the least amount of harm, like you say.
Yeah.
Well, I've asked that question of other people, and some people have said like an infinite number of people.
Oh, geez. Yeah, right.
guess it just depends on.
Well, isn't that like that's kind of like an insanity test too, where like if you ask somebody like, what would you like? Would you kill this person in this scenario? And they answer immediately, like without thinking about it, then you should probably get away from that person. It's just like,
depends who that person is.
Yeah, that person.
Yeah, it depends on how long it's taken them to come to that frame of mind, though. It could have taken them 20 years to achieve the frame of mind that they could create those thought processes in a second and know. Like, instantaneously, I would know that 1 versus 100 is more suffering. That would take no thought process whatsoever, as far as I was concerned.
Well,
because I've cultivated that way of thinking. So it does depend on the person. He's right.
That's true. I mean, that could definitely be a factor also. Not only that, there's also the small chance that person has had to make a decision that grave before. They're just like, yep, this feels familiar. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Okay, well, I have one question left, and I think after this we'll just wrap it up for the sake of things.
Okay.
And this has come up in my friends groups a few times in the past, and I already know what my answer will be, of course. But I was curious, what musical group from your, I mean, everybody here is different ages, of course, but from your era, whatever, like the Rolling Stones are still performing. What band do you think will still be performing, not necessarily together the entire time, but will eventually be still performing when you are 50 or 60?
Tool.
Okay. Well, Tool's basically one guy, so as long as Maynard stays alive.
Are you fucking on? Are you on drugs? Tool is like Danny Carey and Justin Chancellor. That's drums and bass. Without those guys, you ain't got Tool.
Okay, fine.
Because Maynard fucks off and does
wine,
his side projects like Lucifer and shit like that.
Yeah.
No, man, like those guys will be going for a long ass time because they take it very slowly,
Okay.
I mean, way too slowly. I mean, it's been fucking 7 years since the last album.
It's
for fuck's
true.
sake.
I've got them all. Yeah.
Bastards.
Okay.
Bastards.
So Tool for Porco.
I don't know, man. I couldn't even tell you because half of the people I listen to, I don't even know if they're still fucking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I don't really know, honestly. And not to mention that 90% of my musical selection is not in English, so it's just like.
Okay.
I don't know. There are groups that I hope still stay together, like the chick who did the. Well, she's not really a group, but like she stopped making music for a couple years, but she's gonna start back again now that she's gotten married and had some kids. But the chick who did the Kingdom Hearts openings or whatever, yeah, she's making a comeback, and I'm like, yes. So I'm pumped about that, but groups and shit, I don't know.
Laura, any ideas?
I don't know. I don't think people have the attention span for bands to last that long these days. They seem to flicker and die very, very quickly. Bands.
I guess it's a question of what bands have shown that they have a longevity in them to still be popular down the road. My answer from my sort of contemporary time is Pearl Jam. I think Pearl Jam will probably. I think Pearl Jam will probably still be together in some fashion and still be playing by the time that I'm in my my elderly years in some fashion. I think of all the bands that came out in the '90s, Pearl Jam is probably the Rolling Stones equivalent of longevity. I think.
Yeah, they're still going strong. One of my favorite bands as well. I don't know how I didn't think because I don't think of them as contemporary anymore. I suppose.
Who's that?
Pearl Jam.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't like that's just associate them with my childhood growing up, really.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like somebody from my youth that would still technically be around. So I'm sure like maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers and maybe the Foo Fighters, those guys might still be kicking
the Foo
it by the
Fighters
time.
might still be.
Yeah.
Because they like genuinely love making music, them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't ever see Pentatonics breaking up. Because they've been although they're not really a group from like back then. I don't know how long they've really been making music, but they've been around for a while. But I can't see them
Oh, it
really.
doesn't have to be somebody from way back when. I'm just
Okay.
thinking like even back when I was younger, I thought that after Pearl Jam gave up doing music videos and they could still sell albums, I had a notion that and you know I think it was it Vibology or whatever the hell it was called. Anyway, their first album after they decided to not do music videos ever again, which was like the only way people knew how to find new music at the time. And they still sold tickets. I thought, okay, these guys have staying power. These guys are probably still going to be around when I'm old. And so I knew it way back then, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, somebody from now that you just see as someone who's, you know, got a fan base or a staying power or commitment that might last the
Michael
ages.
Bublé.
Michael Bublé, yes, the Bublé. I thought you were about to say Michael Bolton. And I'm like, well, Michael Bolton's still around. That guy's still doing shit. So that guy's got staying power. Holy cow. I mean, God, Lonely Island, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like the most memorable thing that comes to mind when it comes to Michael Bolton.
Tony Montana.
That shit was hilarious, man.
Yeah.
I still listen to that song.
You know, speaking of which, you know they're remaking Scarface.
Are they? No, see,
Why?
that is
Yeah.
the one thing they should not touch.
Okay, so there's only two reasons why I'm not completely offended by this, as for the things that I get offended by.
Okay.
First and foremost, right now the script is being written or at least polished up by the Coen brothers, and they did True Grit, and True Grit was a remake of a classic movie, and it was good. It was a good movie, even though it was a remake. So that's one thing. The second thing is it's going to be directed by Peter Berg, apparently. And Peter Berg is a good director. He's had a couple of hits and misses kind of thing, but overall, he really is committed to the craft and everything. So I'm not like screaming at the moon about it quite yet.
So
I want to see
hopeful optimism, is what you're saying.
Well, if the creators behind it know what they're doing, I'm like, okay, I'll hold off my judgment. What's really going to do it for me is who I find out, whoever they cast for it.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because if they, I mean, you're never going to beat Pacino, obviously.
Jason Statham for the Pacino role. That'd be
well.
so.
Do you think they're going to change the Scarface thing? I mean, obviously, the original Scarface, the old black and white movie, had nothing to do with a Cuban boat immigrant and everything. So they changed all that for the Scarface of the 80s. Do you think they're going to change it, still have Scarface, the general story, but completely change the arrangement?
I honestly don't care. They're going to shit all over it, whatever happens. So I'd rather they get like fucking Channing Tatum in there.
Oh God, no!
And just go whole hog, just fucking shit on it.
See,
eat an Indian curry and fucking get the runs and fucking just crap all over it. Fucking smear it all over the legacy of Pacino. Just do it. Fuck it. Fuck everything. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't think they could actually do it like that way because there's too many memorable faces. Like Scarface the game was like the only movie-based game that was excellent.
Yeah,
like it was like a good game. And like there's some games that was like it was playable. You know, when you play a game based on a movie, you're like, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah,
no, this game was good.
The Scarface game was a complete GTA ripoff. Let's not be.
But it was well done though. Like,
yes, it was a well done ripoff.
They did a very good job, and they did some heavy things that distinguished the difference, like the whole concept of the catalog, which actually the GTA 5 now bit off of that idea.
Yeah,
where you can like call your cars and stuff and come in and just the Empire and stuff. That was legit, man.
The only two other things I think they could do, like I say, if they completely changed the setting and didn't try to duplicate the exact same setting and arrangement of the 80s Scarface, and they changed it to some other, like you say, if it was Jason Statham, if they made him into some kind of European immigrant or something that came over and did it instead. The other thing, as far as casting, man, if he were only 20 years younger, I'd say, can you imagine Benicio del Toro in his prime playing Scarface? Because I think that'd be perfect.
They're probably honestly gonna pull some. He had a fucking long lost kid that nobody knows about.
Oh, shit. I hope it's not a sequel. It's supposed to be a remake, not a sequel. Oh fuck! Don't be a sequel. No. Yeah.
More than likely.
I mean, that's the easiest route to go to. It's not hard to believe that a fucking drug lord fucked a lot of people he don't know.
Yeah. Well, supposedly it's a remake, not a sequel, because But anyway, I just thought when you bring up the, I just thought I'd mention about the Scarface thing. Because what the hell?
I mean that storyline went very well with the what was the movie called? The one about what was it? The Rocky spinoff? Damn it! I can't remember.
Creed.
Yes, they did a very good job in that.
Yes, they did. But I mean, that was about as effective a way you could make a not sequel to Rocky and still have it exist in the same universe. Since Scarface was a one-off, that's now like what, 30, almost 40 years old.
Right.
Not a franchise. I don't think they could get away with a sequel. I think it's going to be a straight remake, and they're just going to reset the scenario under which Scarface comes to America. If he's even an immigrant, it might be someone who's completely different, but we'll see.
It's interesting.
Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that, into the shit pile because I hate remakes, but anyway.
Russell said that the carrier is going to be a Syrian refugee.
Oh God! Well, it would be topical, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh God! But yes, a Syrian refugee starts a crime organization. Oh, that'd be great. Oh God!
Oh man!
Hollywood is never going to have a Syrian refugee smacking someone in the head with a chainsaw. It is never going to happen.
Man.
We can dream. Pray to Allah.
Yeah, but here's the other thing to think about. Now, granted that it is a remake, but they have to draw in people that would be fans of the original. How over the top are they going to have to make the violence in order to? I hope if they, the one thing about movie violence that it really pisses me off is when you see it. When you didn't see the guy getting the chainsaw put to him in Scarface, that was far more horrifying to me than if you actually saw it. You saw the chainsaw approaching, you saw the aftermath, you didn't actually see it happening. And that was always far more effective.
It was left to imagination. Yeah, you were like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's
why I hate a lot of modern horror movies and things, is because they don't allow the theater of the audience's mind to do the work for them. They have to show it, and it just kind of takes away the effect. But
because a lot of directors don't know how to translate it now.
Yeah, and it looks fake as well sometimes when they do it and don't leave it to the imagination. So your brain instantly goes, "No, that's not right." Yeah,
especially if it's CGI blood or something, because that always looks stupid. Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on and chatting with me for a little bit. This is number 3 in my streams. Hopefully, in the near future, I'll have enough subscribers to justify to myself for a number 4. But before we go, everybody, Satsu, tell people about your channel and where they can find you and everything.
I give my 2 cents on topics that range from whatever the hell it is I feel like talking about at the time. You can follow me on Twitter at the same name, Satsu2cents, and you can also follow me on minds.com, where I do majority of my uploads.
Cool. Porco?
Yeah, same deal. I've just uploaded a 50-minute long fucking bastard of a video about why it's haram to criticize Islam. This is episode 1 of a series. Was originally, my plan back in November was to do a 1-hour special where I would cover everything, but this is impossible. So it's going to be at least 4 episodes of about 50 minutes. Today is American globalism. Enjoy. It's fun. It's probably the most miserable shit I've ever done in my life.
well, now that's an endorsement for your own work.
Find me, kill me, burn my corpse, eat my tasty porky remains.
Okay, and in the process of trying to find you, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Porco Dio Media.
Oh, one word. Okay, and Laura, what about your channel?
No, my channel's still really small. I've just started. Yeah, but it's at LauraBone79. And it's the same on my Twitter as well.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll have more videos up soon.
Oh yeah, well, it's a process, and we're all still noobs in our own way. Except Brother Bear is the biggest noob.
I prefer the whole podcasting, streaming route, to be fair, than actually making videos.
Yeah, okay, that works too. Do you have a podcast site or something?
No, but that's just where I would like to go. I think.
Okay.
I think I'd rather do conversations than just videos.
Well, cool. I have an interview show on Hangouts or something occasionally. Probably be more interesting than some of the stuff that I put out. But anyway, being self-deprecating.
Shush.
Yeah. But anyway, all that
Rules.
aside,
He's the smartest out of all of us. Let's be
whatever.
honest.
Thank you guys so much for coming on and sort of half celebrating my channel's growth and everything. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to make questions up for everybody to ask or answer.
It's been fun.
And other than that, me babbling, I hope everyone watching enjoyed themselves and you have a good weekend. And I will talk to you all later.
Later, guys.
Later,
Bye.
Laters.
Later, fans.
Bye.
Bye.